Good morning, ladies. Second reboot. Had a little bit of technical error. Sorry about that. You know, it is Tuesday. And you know, the way that things are in the world doesn't surprise me. Alrighty. So I'm just going to get my phone going so I can see your comments. Everyone's doing well. Awesome. So today we are going to do a Heartfelt Creations demo, and we are going to make some beautiful asters. Okay, so I am going to actually complete the asters as well as make the little buds. Just my way of doing it. Doesn't mean it's right, doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just how I do it. And then I wanted to show you a different way to do some of the buds that I have in my little clay pot here. So this is a different way to do some of the asters. Good morning, Karen. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Helen. Good morning, Steph. Hi, Tina. I'm so glad you guys are all here with me. So we are going to be working with the asters. We are also going to be doing some roses. And I just wanted to do some rose buds and just kind of show everyone how I make my centers for my roses. Okay, so this was something that a lot of people had been asking about. And we're also going to use the leafy accents and just kind of give a little layout of how to do some things, okay? So, good morning, Suzanne. Good morning, Jeannie. Hi, Victoria. How are you? Uncle G is here as well, and he says hi.
Hi, V.
Say it again.
Hi, V.
Aw. Hi, Karen. Hi, Sue.
Hey, kitten.
All right, so today we are going to be using the Heartfelt Creations Deluxe Flower Shaping Kit. So as you know, in this here, you're going to get your piercing mat, which I've taken out. You're going to get your stylus. You're going to get all of your balls on the ends, your stylus ends.
Hi, kitten.
Okay, and then you also get your black mat. So we're going to be using this today. So I'm just going to kind of give you a little walkthrough of what all we're going to be using. So we will be using the Wild Aster Stamp and Die combo. Okay. We will be using the, whoops, sliding out of my hands, the Rose, Classic Rose Stamp and Die. We are going to be using the Leafy Accents Stamp and Die. Okay, and then we're also going to be using the mold. So with the mold, I've mentioned this before, you'll see my initials up at the top here. When you open it, you're going to see them again on the inside. So I'm that person that when I have my flowers inside and I'm ready to go and put them through, put the lid on, I always put the lid on wrong. I don't know why. So what I've started to do is I have the PLS here, then I have PLS here. I instantly know that they have to go together. Okay, so definitely going to show you how that works and how easy it is to use these molds, okay? I know a lot of you have already done the molds and love them. So that's going to be a good thing. I'm just going to get my glue gun. I'm going to be using the golf tools. Okay. I'm going to be using, bless you,
thank you,
Hot Mama Prills. Okay. I'm going to be using Wired Sugared Stamens from Heartfelt Creations in the light and the medium pink. I have my spoon for my crystal clear. So when I use my crystal clear, I always take this and I empty it into a bigger container because, hi Donna, how are you from PEI? So nice of you to join us. I like to have them in here so that I have a bigger area to sprinkle. I'm never going to get it back into that little jar, ever, and it just ends up everywhere, and I don't want to waste a single flake of this. Then we're also going to be using the Ranger Distress Crackle Paint this is my medium of choice that I put on my flowers, that I put on before I sprinkle Rajni's Crystal Clear on, okay? My personal choice. You can use a paintbrush and just paint them on. I'll show you that. You can also use Dries Clear. I just personally find this makes the flowers firmer. Everyone that comes in sees my flowers and always say, your flowers are so much harder than mine. And I think it might be this medium, and I really like it. So this is what I use. And of course, we're going to use Dries Clear. Now my colors for today, because I've been doing a lot of purple and I kind of need a break. So we're going to use Vibrant Fuchsia for our flowers. And we're going to use Olive Archival ink for our leaves. Okay, and I got a couple little finger daubers here that I'll be using just for the demo right now. I've got my handy little tweezers. I have my clear overlay glitter pen. This is from Spectrum Noir. It is exactly the same excuse me, as the Wink of Stella. So you can definitely use this as well, or the Wink of Stella, either or works perfectly fine. I also have a water bottle that I'm going to mist my leafy accents when I put them in the mold. Okay. Now, I've gone ahead and I have stamped and die cut 3 different sizes of asters. Okay, so I've got our tiny ones for our buds, our medium ones, and then our larger ones. And I don't know if I will use the biggest one. We'll see. We'll see how far this goes. Now, I've also gone ahead with green cardstock, and all I did was just cut out more of the asters in the different sizes. Okay, just green. I didn't stamp them. Don't worry about it. You're not going to see the stamping on them. We're just using this to add as a little filler and to wrap our bud. Okay, so that's all we're going to be using those for. Then I've gone ahead and I've stamped and die cut our leafy accents. Okay, and then I also have taken some dogwood flowers and I only just die cut them. I did not stamp them, just in white cardstock. Okay, so these I'm just going to shape. I'm going to put a wired stamen in them, and we're going to use these. I'm going to show you how to use these as fillers. Okay, so this is just where you want to have that little quote-unquote baby's breath on your composition for your card, okay? And then after we're done all of the asters, we are then going to do some rosebuds. So I have all my classic roses done in 3 different sizes. And I went ahead and I also did a few just in plain white cardstock that I'm going to use as fillers as well. Okay. So that's pretty much the gist of what we're doing. If you have any questions, let me know. Make a comment. If you want to know how to do something, sorry, I have a candy in my mouth. And I probably shouldn't, because it's kind of stuck to my cheek right now. All right, we're also using a glue gun. I like to use glue guns because they are fast, immediate stick. And I just like that I don't have to worry about stuff. It's just going to be stuck and done and off I go. All right. So I'm just going to take out some of my different sizes. Can you guys see everything okay? Give me a thumbs up if everything's okay. I'm just going to take a few of my pieces out. I have this handy little container that stores all my stuff for me. And I absolutely love it. Okay. Any questions before we get started? No? All good? Okay. So we're just going to pan down and we're going to get started. Okay. So I never like to fill my flowers with color. I always like to leave a little bit of the white showing, okay? I just think it adds a little bit of contrast, adds, you know, otherwise it's just this big, big purple or pink flower. So how I like to do it, and again, this is only me, okay? So I'm going to ink up my dauber. Basically, I am just going to hold the petals in my hand. In the center, I'm just going to do a little circle. And I'm not going to go out too far on the small ones because then the color will really bleed out. Okay, so we'll just do a few of these. And then what I like to do is I'll hold it in my hand. I'll find whereabouts I want my ink to come down to, and I'll put my fingernail there. So I know I'm only going to my fingernail. When I have this done, I'll show you what it looks like. So keep your fingernail just kind of at the top, and yes, it is messy, but you see how just the tips are kissed as opposed to all of the flower. And then because we're doing buds, you want to do a little bit of color on your back as well. Okay, because we don't want any of this showing. So again, we're just gonna go quick all the way around. You guys are quiet out there in Cyberland. Okay, so this is an inky job. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about our nails right now because the salons are all closed. And I like using my craft mat because then I can just use my wet one and it just takes it off. Okay, so I'm just going to do a couple in the larger size as well. And again, I'm not too fussy. I'm not too particular. I just basically do a nice little circle, bleed it out just a little bit so that it's up the petals just, you know, no more than halfway, I would say. Oh, you're very welcome, Carolyn. Did you like it? Okay, so now I find on the bigger ones, because we're not making buds, I'm not going to worry about inking the back of these because you're not going to see them because the way that they go down. But if you're that person that feels, nope, I want them done, take the second to do them because you won't be able to do them once they're all done. Loved it all. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here with us today. Okay, so there's basically our flowers. Okay, I might do maybe a couple more of the small ones. Just because the buds, you never know, you might want to have more thickness. So I'm just gonna go fast on these. And again, I'm not particular. I'm not that person that is all crazy about having exactly everything done exactly the same. Okay. Move my stuff out of the way. So I'm gonna see if I can get the box so that I can tell you the exact number that I am using. So I am using the 5mm and the 6mm, okay? So on my stylus, I'm using the 4mm and the 5mm. Those seem to be the best for working with the asters, okay? So what I'm going to do with the asters, I'm going to turn them face side down and just kind of hold one edge with your fingernail. You're going to start at the tip and you're really going to push it in. And you're going to see that these automatically want to curl up. And I think I'm going to go even one smaller. Oh, wrong side. One smaller, just because this flower's petals are a little small. Good morning, Rose. So I'm going smaller because I'm finding that it's catching. Hi, Lynn, how are you? Okay, so we're just gonna go right to the tip and we're gonna pull back and see how they instantly wanna come back like a little spider almost. Okay, so nice and pull. Don't hold down your flower as you're working with it. When everyone takes a release party with me, I'm always after their fingers, not to touch them. Okay, and then do a nice little circle. And do you see how this becomes like a little ball? There's the basis of our bud. Did you see how easy that was? Like that's a little bud right now. And we're going to do a second one because I like them to be quite full. This is the beginner kit, LOL. Birgit, I'm your beginner kit. So this is just using the Aster, super easy. You need a stylus and a mat and you're off to the races. Now my mat, as you guys can probably see, has a lot of glue on it, which I do not recommend that you do. If at any point you want a deeper impression, fold up your mat and then it will really come in tight, okay? Or if you happen to be that person that has two mats, you can do that as well, okay? Just make sure my glue gun's going, okay? So then what we're gonna do, which I probably should have done beforehand, was punch some holes in the center of our flower. Okay, so I'm using my golf tool. It has a pokey end, and you're just going to punch a hole in the center. Bring it up a bit because you want to have enough room for the stem to fold down. Don't worry about it being all crinked. It's all going to be good. Now, on the inside of the buds, you're not really going to see the stamen. So if you have an ugly color or a color you don't use very often and you prefer not to waste something that you would normally use a lot, then you can do that too. So all you're going to do is put the stamen inside, okay? Hold it up at the bottom. Make sure your hole's not too big on the bottom because you don't want it to be totally falling out. Just put a little bit of glue from your glue gun. Slide up the first bud. Okay, give it a second. I always kind of play with my buds as the glue is drying. Just got to get my wire here better, okay? And then I'm going to take my second one. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Now the second one I always find is a little funny. And it's usually where I get burnt, so do be careful. Put a little bit of glue on the first bud, slide your second one up, okay? And then you can just start forming your little bud, okay? And it's really seriously that easy. Now you can also put a little bit of glue. I would use the Dries Clear on the top if you wanted to close this and kind of just squish them in a bit if you want a closed bud. I kind of like them where they're a little bit open as opposed to totally being closed. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find one of my small green petals and I'm going to do the same thing. Now on this one I'm using textured cardstock. So the textured is my good side. The smooth is my inside, so my bad side. So we're gonna shape it just the same as we did with the petals. Okay. It's a little harder with cardstock because it's just a little thicker. Okay, so we're gonna do this on all of these little petals. We're gonna do a nice little circle. If one doesn't come up as much as you want, go back in and pull it in again. We're gonna poke a hole. Try to find the center of your petal. Open it out just a little bit. You're gonna stick this down inside again. We're going to do, hi Heather. We're gonna put a little bit of glue on our petals. We're gonna slide this up. Now look at that. So now it looks like, sounds good, Elizabeth. Have a good day. So now you have a nice little bud, an aster bud, and you've got a little bit of green for your color, and you just have to literally, I will show you when we do our card after, but you're just gonna take your stamen, trim off a little bit, and then you can tuck it down inside on your floral arrangement. Okay, so that's the small bud, and that's literally as easy as it is. It's so cute and easy, and you can make a million of these. You could make a whole bunch and have them just as fillers ready to go. Do a bunch in different colors. You can even do a tonal where you would just do white and not even worry about coloring anything. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of the larger ones. So use my wider end, and again, now you can mist this paper. I have a lot of people that like to mist. I used to mist a lot when I first started this, but I often found that the paper tore because I think I'm just a little too rough. Okay, so we're just gonna pull all of these right from the tip of the petal in, and you see how they're making a little claw? Just totally in. You can go as hard as you want, as light as you want. I tend to have a harder touch. Okay, and then this one didn't quite get enough, so I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna pull it. I find if you don't start at the very tip of the petal, that will happen. And then I'm just gonna open it out enough that I can then rub it on the mat, on its tummy. You'll often hear me say on its tummy. And there's your base of your first aster. Now, do you see this one is a little too straight for my liking? So I'm just gonna turn it over and I'm just gonna pull it in a little bit. Okay, so now it's done. This one here too, this one, so you just take from the very tip, pull it in, and now it's shaped. So we'll do another one. And again, you don't have to ink the edges, the back sides of these if you don't want. This one looks like he's giving me the finger here. Okay, so we're just gonna rub this one. This one I forgot to ink the tips. That wasn't good, was it? How did I forget to do that? So I've made a mistake, not a worry. All I have to do is straighten it back out, go back in, ink up my tips, and go back. It's already been worked, the paper's already been manipulated, so it's gonna curl up nice. The asters are so easy, and that's why they did not release a mold for these. Hopefully my hands are not in your way. Okay, so then we're gonna rub this, we're gonna turn it over, go right along the edges of the petals, okay? And I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on the back of this, so just a little bit of glue here. Now when you put these in, you wanna stagger them, okay? You don't want the petals to be exactly in the same spot. Then once, the thing with the glue, the hot glue, is it's already dry. Like this is already set now. So now I can manipulate the flower however I want. Okay, so I think I'm gonna take another small one and I'm gonna go in. I gotta use the other end, that's why. I needed the smaller styling tip. Okay, so we're just gonna work the flowers. Don't worry about the petals. I break petals, I tear them off by accident. It's not a big deal, nothing to worry about. It is cool, Birgit. Making handmade flowers are awesome. Okay, so now we're gonna put a little bit of glue on the bottom of this again. I don't use a lot. We're just gonna put this in and we're gonna stagger. Once this is in, now you can absolutely leave this flower like this if you wanted, or we could also put a hole down the center and put that little, if I didn't have the green on here, we could put a little bud on the inside. Oops. Ah, my fingers aren't working. Okay, so the asters are one of the easiest to make. I definitely think that if you're new at this, this would definitely be a good flower for you to work on. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of Dry's Clear just on my tips. Okay, just randomly, nothing crazy. I don't want it to really show, and it's going to dry clear. But you see how then you can go in and you can just manipulate these so that they stick. Okay? And you don't want them to be perfectly stuck. And then on the bottom, I'm going to put a little bit of glue on, whoa, a little bit of glue on there. And I'm going to stick it on the inside of my flower. Yep. Okay, so this is this way to do this. So now you have a pretty little bud aster that has a bud in the center of it. And again, like these ones that I had done, you can do them where they're a little bit more open, a little bit more closed, whatever your preference is. You don't even have to put these in there. You can just do a whole bunch of prills in the middle. Okay, so I'll show you quickly what it looks like with the prills. So again, yeah, they are so pretty. Quickly, just gonna shape our flowers. I'm not gonna go really particular. Okay, I'm gonna turn it over, rub its little bellies. Always put your tip in for your glue, because you don't want it to be getting dry on you. You want it to be able to be moist and ready to go. Do you have any of the aster dies, and how much are they? Do you know what? The thing is, when I planned this, I had a whole bunch of them, and unfortunately I am out at the minute, but I promise you that I will have them in. If anyone places an order for them, because I had some and they sold last week, I promise you that I will give you the 25% off if you place your order for them this week and pay for them. And they'll be here in a week, okay? My bad. You know, I never know what's going to be a big seller, and then all of a sudden everyone wanted the asters. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in the bottom here. We're going to fill this up in here, make this nice and pretty. I might do another one just because I want it to be nice and full. And there's no ending to this. You could do as many layers as you wanted. You could take this aster and make it into a mum. Just the more layers that you put in, the fuller it's going to be. Okay, so then we're just going to do another quick little layer, put some more glue here. And remember to stagger. We always want our leaves, our petals staggered. Okay, and then once it's down there, we can just rub it, go back in, totally fix up our petals that have fallen. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, a lot of the ladies on Heartfelt are using the hot glue gun to put their prills in. I never have. And I'm a little leery about it, and I was going to do it today, but I'm too much of a chicken, so I'm not going to. So how I do it is I fill up the center of my aster with some Dry's Clear. You don't need a ton of it, but you definitely want the inside to be filled. Doesn't have to be a pile, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then just sprinkle in some of your stamens, or sorry, your prills. Generally, I would let it sit for, you know, a couple minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, and then shake off the extra, and then you have them inside. Now, you can see a little bit of the white, but once that dries, you won't see any of it. Okay? And always have a little tray to catch your pearls because again, or a lot of ladies use a coffee filter or just a piece of paper. You don't have to spend a fortune. Just use what you have. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna make this all nice and pretty. Oh, the one thing I did forget to do was I was going to put a neck size little green piece on the back. And you can do this in any color. It could be a tonal, it could be anything. I like tone on tone. It's so nice. Okay, so open that out just a little bit. Just gonna curve this up a little bit of hot glue gun. And we're just gonna set this in here. Okay, and now it's stuck. So there's different ways to do them. This helps you to see the difference. You can also put green behind here. It's totally up to you. And then what I like to do is with my paintbrush and my Distress Crackle and my tweezers. Sometimes I feel like I'm in surgery. So what I will do is I will put my tweezers underneath the bottom layer next to the bud and hold it. Okay. And then I'm just going to go in. I like to use quite a bit. I don't want it to be, I want to be sure that I have enough medium everywhere that it gets where I want it to be. Okay, so kind of more is better, but without it being gobby. Okay, so then you're just going to do all of your petals. Don't worry, they might stick together a bit, but that's okay. We can just move them up. Make sure you get the ones that are by your tweezers. This stuff is easy to pick off metals, so if you get a little bit on your tweezers, you've not ruined them. Don't forget to do your bud. Then we're going to take Rajni's crystal. Oh, you know what? This reminds me of a water lily. That just looks like a water lily. So you can make lilies. And we're just going to use a spoon. I always like to go high. I sprinkle high instead of going really low because I have more control. I don't want to put too much on or I'm not going to see. Knock off the excess. Take it off your tweezer and look at that beautiful flower. Can you see? Nice and zoomed. Okay, so nice and sparkle, all sugared up. Okay, then we can do the same with this one, even though it has the pearls in it, doesn't matter. Let's go add a little bit of glitter. Now you can also use a Wink of Stella if you wanted. You could use whatever you wanted if you didn't have this stuff, but if you don't have it, you should have it. There's certain things that I think everyone should have, and everyone should be using this Distress medium for their adhesive for putting on Rajni's Crystal Clear. It lasts a long time. I forgot to use my tweezers, so now I have glue on my fingers. So this is why I like to use my tweezers so that I don't get the glue all over my fingers. Okay, so I've got everything all done. And then don't worry if you get a little bit of your petals stuck. Go back in, lift them up. Nothing is permanent. It's just paper. Okay, lift them up. Put some Crystal Clear on them. I'm going to do the green as well this time. Okay. Never go like this. Never put your flower down inside here, okay? For a couple reasons. One is that you get way too much glitter on and it's just waste. And two, if any of your medium comes off inside of your glitter, it's going to be become clumps, and you don't want clumps in your glitter, okay? So shake off the excess, and there you go. So that I'm going to call a lily, because I just created a lily, a water lily. Imagine these in beautiful pinks, soft pinks, like a lime green, You know, you could do like a frog card and then have this as your lily. So we've taken an aster and made it into a lily. Now we can also add a little bit of this. I would just probably do the tips and maybe a little bit of the background on our buds. I never want a whole lot of glitter on my buds just because I want them to look a little different and stand out more. Okay, so there's our sugared bud. Pretty, right? So now we have enough that we could actually make a bouquet. This is water soluble as well. So normally I would have a little bottle of water to wash my brush off. Right now I'm going to use my wet one until I can get in the house and wash this. Okay, so just get a nice paintbrush from the dollar store. Doesn't have to be anything super expensive, and you're done. Okay. So now the next thing that we're going to do before I make our little card part is I'm going to do the leafy accents. Okay. Excuse me. So with the leafy accents, always save these little pieces. These little pieces that are left over from your stamens that you cut off, make sure you save these because you can use these to create a stamen on a flower in case you needed it. You filled it up with pearls, but you might want to have this so that you can stick it into a bouquet. So always save these. So I like to add a little bit of color to my leaves. Now you can do them a couple different ways. You can do color on the outside. I find it to be a little too much, so I'm not going to do that. But I like to go just in a little bit where the leaves meet. And all this does is just add a little bit of color. You don't want it to be heavy, so it has to be really light. And just kind of daub it on. Nothing particular, you're just adding a little shadow. And then you're going to go in with your green and always work in a circular motion. And the reason you want to do circular motion is you want to catch the white edges on the side. Okay, so the side here, we want this white covered. And you want to do the little tendrils that are on this one. And remember, this is just paper, so I'm being a little rough right now, just for time. I would probably go a little bit slower if I was doing an actual card. Okay, so make sure you get your little curly cues. And on these particular leaves, I don't ever do the back because the way that it gets shaped in the mold, you're not going to see the back at all. Okay, so we'll do it on this one as well. And then I'm going to just show you a little bit of composition on how I would lay this on a card. And then we'll move on to the roses. I really like making roses. I was so afraid of them when I first started. And now I love them. I had a great Facebook Live with Emma Lou years ago when I was down there. And we got talking about roses and how when I first started, my first one looked like a carnation. And she laughed, but I persevered. And here I am showing you guys how to make roses. So anyone can do it. You can rose. The only thing is the distress, it's clear and it dries clear. So anything that you use, it must say clear on it. So you could use our dries clear and you could use a paintbrush and you could paint it on just like I did. But you have to wait for it to dry until it goes clear. And I have done it and it works perfectly fine. Okay. So has anyone ever not used a mold? So what we're going to do with this one our colored side goes down into the appropriate spot. Okay, we're going to do a light mist, and by light I mean just a little bit. We're going to line up our letters, squish them down. Good morning, Tamara. Then all we're going to do to run the mold through on our Big Shot Vagabond, you are just going to use a clear plate. I like to use 2 pieces of just spare used cardstock, my mold, and a top plate. Okay? You're going to hear a clicking noise when I put this through, and that is perfectly normal. Hear that? That is normal. Okay, so we're going to run that back because I want it to be a nice impression. No worries. Glad that you're here. I am using olive green. So now we're going to take these out and look at how well shaped that is. I'll show you on the back side so you can see all the impression. I could never have done that on my own with a stylus. Okay, so again, we're going to, oops, I ripped off one of my little curly cues. Not a worry, we can glue that on. So we're going to put this in here. Okay, we're going to do a nice light mist. Try to get it inside as best you can. It does react to the water and will move on you occasionally. The less handling you do, the better. And I like to squeeze my lid on. That way I know it's on. Okay, so again, we're using a clear plate, we're using a top clear plate, and we've got our mold in the middle as a sandwich, a little pink sandwich. Okay, so we're just gonna run this through quick. Lots of clicking, which is normal. Okay, so we take it out, pop it, done. Whenever you're using your molds, if you can see some of the water that's been left on my mold, either wipe it off right away or let them air dry. I would be afraid that you might get some mold in there if you don't let them dry. So I never just put them back together and put them away. I make sure that they're totally dry or wipe them off with a paper towel. Okay. So for these ones, I'm not going to glitter them with the Rajni's Crystal Glitter. I am going to use my overlay, my clear overlay. This is the same as a Wink Stella. Okay, so shake it up, get some glitter on there, and you just brush this on. Mine's getting a little low. Okay, now I don't know if through the magic of the camera you're going to be able to see it, but it is on there. Okay, so you're just going to brush it all over and be gentle because you don't want to flatten all the work that you just did. Okay, and we would do that to both of them. And then with my card base, what I would do is I would figure out kind of how I want my card to be. So I'm just going to randomly just put this down just to give you an idea of what I would do. Okay, so this is just an A2 card. I'm not too fussy about securing everything because I have other things that are going to go on it that are going to help to hold it down. Okay, so we're just going to kind of do a little leafy thing like this. And I am using my glue gun. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my lily. Now I always would probably have 3 large flowers, but for today I don't have them all done because I don't want you guys to be stuck here all day. So I'm gonna find where I want my first one, stick it down. My lily, I'm gonna stick it down. Okay, and this is why I don't worry about everything being stuck on the bottom, because these flowers are gonna hold it down. And then what I would do is I would probably take my little bud And I think I like them right there. So the stamen, if you have a white stamen and you're not happy with the white stamen and you don't have floral tape, then just use your green ink and just cover with the ink the stamen. Okay, just so that you don't see the white, especially if the pattern paper was a dark color, you don't want the white to show. And then just run a little bit of hot glue on your stamen. Tuck it in. Okay, and then you can just take, I'm just kind of on the fly here. Nothing was planned, just kind of had a few things on the table and decided I was going to do something with it. So I just have a little tag here that I'm just butchering. Ink up my edges because I like my edges always inked. Okay, a nice little trick to help with to curl your tag, just use your stylus. Okay, if you want to have it where it's kind of curved in and out. And then kind of figure out where you want your sentiment to go. I think I like it there and there. A little bit of adhesive on each end. Just tuck this under. You have to be a little quick with this because I have the glue gun. Anchor the second one. And there's a cute little card. Okay, so this is how fast it can be. The little buds are absolutely adorable to do. And I would fill this up with some other things as well. So now this is where our little white dogwoods would come in. So with the white dogwoods, all I'm going to do, and it's up to you if you want to shape them or not. I'm just going to poke in the corners just to do, oops, I got a little bit of glue. Just to do a little bit of shaping. And this is a good way to fill up your bouquet. And then I'm going to take, I think I'm going to do a dark, too dark, and a light. And I'm going to poke a little hole in these. Just got to turn them over and poke down in the middle. Okay, so as you can see, when I first started, I poked here. Now I'm going to turn them over and I'm going to poke in the belly. And then I'm going to put a hole in the center. Do you guys know that you get a tool in, whoops, that you get a tool inside of the deluxe flower shaping kit that is actually a paper piercer? So this here is your paper piercer, and you would just take out one end, put it in, lay it down, poke a hole. Okay, same. The other thing that a lot of people don't know is that there is a, hi Heather, that there is a paper curler. So in here, you're going to put this in. And with a piece of paper, there's a little slit in here. Okay, so the paper goes through the little slit. This will help you to curl it. So if you wanted to edge your papers or your petals, you can start right at the beginning and really curl them under. That's what this is for, that's inside of your deluxe shaping kit. I'm put my end back in because you know me, I'm going to freak when I can't find it. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my little stamen in here. And I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of hot glue, just enough to hold it. And then I'm going to pull it down in, pull it up just a little bit, shape it, go on to the next while that's drying. And all these little strands, all this glue hair, all you have to do to get rid of it is with your heat tool, is just hold your heat tool over your flowers or your card, and it will burn off the little strands, and they won't be all over because they're so annoying. Now this one is not right in the center, but I don't care. It's fine. I'm not going to stress about it because once it's inside the card, in the bouquet, you won't even notice it. Okay, so then we're going to pull this up. Try not to burn yourself. I burn myself on a regular basis. Okay, so now you want to have it where it's just kind of curled up a little bit. You can still see the stamen. Okay, and then what we're going to do is you can either use your Rajni's crystal clear, or you can use your glitter pen. Just go in and put a little bit of sparkle on your petals. Don't worry about, you didn't wreck them, you just have to reshape them a little bit. And I'm being a little rough, I will say. And that's just for the magic of TV. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we are going to trim off. Again, we're going to keep our ends that we're taking off, because we may need them for another flower. Okay. And then I like to kind of fiddle a little bit. Where do I want it? Well, I kind of like that one there. I'm going to turn it to me just while I'm working on it. And again, if you don't want that white stamen, just go in with your green ink, cover it up, put a little bit of glue on your stamen. We're going to tuck it in. I always work in threes. I don't think I have any fingerprints on some finger. You know what? Me too. I swear this one and this one, there's no fingerprint. If I ever get arrested or something or go missing, they won't be able to find my fingerprint. They're going to know I was a crafter. Okay, so now we're going to put this one in here. I will show you. I'm going to turn the card in a second. And the good thing about having a wired stamen is don't be afraid to, once you get it in, don't be afraid to bend it. It's wire. You can bend it and make the little flower stick up. Do whatever you want with it. It's not going to hurt it. I think we're going to go one down in here. Okay, so what I mean is right now it's not kind of where I want it. So I'm actually going to bend it up so that now it is. And this is how you use fillers, by just die cutting white cardstock or yellow or any color that you wanted as your filler and adding them into your bouquet. And it just makes your card so much nicer. So we have done a traditional aster. We have this aster done this way in the larger format. And then I've also created a lily. I'm going to call this a lily, a water lily. I really am. So that's how we do the asters. A lot of fun. They are beautiful to do. You can also take some of the stamens and you can just cut off a little length. Thank you, Heather. You can just cut off a few lengths and you can just tuck them in as fillers and have them sticking out. Okay. So I just do everything in threes. It's my thing. So I will often put them just as little places to fill a hole that I thought maybe needed something. Okay. So that is the aster. How many people are going to buy the aster now? Now that they've seen how simple it is to do. And to take all of the flowers that we have, whether they are roses, whether it's the dogwood, it doesn't matter what kind of flower it is. You can just die cut them out of white cardstock and add them as fillers. Okay, so now we're going to change gears and we're going to go to our roses. I love making roses. I really, really do. So I'm just going to clean up a little bit of my mess here and I'm going to show you how to make some buds. So I have always, when you're doing the rose buds, you want to cut a lot of the smallest petal because you use probably 3 per bud, if not more. Okay. So we're going to stay with the same color. So when you're doing your rose buds, excuse me, I'm just going to color all of the bud. Okay, I'm not going to be fussy, but you have to make sure that you do the inside as well. So the back side, And I'll sit in an evening and just color a whole bunch of these up if I know I'm going to work on them the next day, just so, while I'm sitting watching TV. Super easy, and it's nice to have a bunch of flowers already made. And then you can just go pull some. So we're just going to do the whole flower for the bud only, just because it's all going to need to be pink. We got 3, we'll do one more. Okay, and then our larger flowers, our next petals, again, I'm going to kind of do the same thing. I'm just going to do a little bit in the center. So I have the medium, the small, the medium, and the next large, not the largest. Okay, and then I'm going to go in and I'm just going to frost, put a little bit of color on the tips, and again, leave that little bit of white. It's a nice contrast. If you like it to be solid, that's good too. This is all just my personal way of doing them. Don't do them like mine if it's not your thing. I just want you to be able to see how easy these are to make, especially the buds. Okay. And I'm not going to worry about the backs at all because you're not going to see it. And then what we're going to do with our mat, I'm going to get rid of some of my stuff. Okay. So what we want to do now is we have to remember that we want the side that has the stamped image, the veins, we want that to be on our outside so that when the bud closes, this is our good stuff and the bad stuff's on the inside. So we're going to work from the back, okay, and we're just going to go in. You can just rub it or you can poke it, however you like, and really make it hard so that you can really form a little bowl. Think of a bowl. So the more that you manipulate the paper, the easier it is to use. Now you can also, if you have bad wrists or you don't have enough hand strength, if you wet it, it does make it much easier. Just be careful that you don't get too rough and you end up ripping the petals. So because my hands are a little sore, I'm going to just wet it, poke, poke, poke. I'm not going crazy on how it's being shaped, just very basic. Move that out of the way. Okay, oh, that one's not even colored. That was the wrong guy. Is this guy? Okay, so we're gonna poke and poke and poke. Okay, now with the medium ones as well, let's do those. Again, you can poke it, you can do a circular motion. We're gonna turn them over and create a nice little bowl. Okay. Now there is a mold for the rose. I do not own one because I like to make them from hand. And that's just my personal preference. And again, if you want this to be a little bit deeper impression, all you have to do is double your mat, wet your paper, then when you fold it over, or if you have 2 mats, you can do that. Makes a nice little bowl for everything that's gonna sit in it. Whoops. Got a little bit too much water on here this time. Things are getting out of hand and wild here, throwing stuff around. Okay. Now, we're going to use Dry's Clear. So this petal is a 5-petal flower, okay? I want you to, wherever you're comfortable, I want you to find 2 petals and bend the other ones back. You're going to take the 2 petals and you're going to make them into almost a little cone, okay? Not too deep. You're going to fill up one side with glue. You're going to lock this one inside of it. Do you see what happens when it's in there? Let me just blow on it for a second. I do not recommend using a glue gun right now because you will burn yourself, I promise. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. And it looks funny, but that's okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to put a little bit of glue in the other 3 petals, and you're going to start folding them up. Okay, so there's the start of our bud. And just hold it for a second. It's a little hard to see, I know, because it's small and in my fingertips. Okay, so there's our first little bud. Now you can absolutely leave this just like this and put it inside your little bouquet, but it's a little small. So what I like to do is I'm going to fill up another one, and I'm going to fill up each petal and a little bit in the center. I'm going to take my baby bud, I'm going to set it inside, and I'm going to start folding it. Okay, can you see what's happening? So I now have a little bit bigger. So this is why I say when you're going to do the rosebud, you definitely want to stamp and die cut minimum 3 for a bud of the same size. Okay, so we're going to go back in, we're going to fill up each petal and the belly. We're going to take our bud and we're just going to start building. And this is why you need to have the back side of your flowers inked so that you don't see the white. Any white you're seeing right now is the dries clear and it will be gone. Okay? Now, if you wanted, you could go on and do more. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your medium flower, you're going to fill up, and I like to go just a little tidge up, kind of like maybe 1/8 of the way up each petal. And then I'm trying to stay in camera here, and then I'm going to set it in the middle, make sure that it's straight, and I'm just going to kind of push these petals up just a little bit so that my glue starts to set against the bud. Just give me 1 second and I'll move my big hands out of the way. Okay. So there's the base of our flower, the beginning of our rose. Okay. And then we're going to take another one and we're going to do the same thing. Roses are so easy to create. Make sure you stagger. You want to be sure that you stagger your petals so that they're not sitting on top of each other. Okay. Push it down, pull these ones up. You can always go back later if a petal is misbehaving like this one. You can always go back, put a little bit of glue on here and make it stay. So you could, this one's really being stubborn. So you could easily just have this as a beautiful rose. And then of course you can just keep going. You can make it more, just do more. And then we're going to set this one down inside here. Do you see how easy these all come together? So it's a beautiful rose. Okay, so this is going to be a nice accent to my bouquet. Okay, so all it is that. Now, another way to do some of the buds is doing the same concept. So we're going to take 2 of them, and we're just going to kind of fold them, crease them between our fingers just a little bit. Okay, and then we're just going to make these go inside of each other. You will go in there. And then just kind of fold them around. with your fingernails. Okay, while you're holding that, put some glue on your other petals, fold it up. Actually, I should have probably done that in the bigger one. Okay. Let me just quickly make a little bigger one. Okay, so we're just going to take this and we're going to shape this. So buds can be different sizes. They don't all have to be tiny, tiny. So again, we're going to take two. We're going to kind of pinch them. We're going to take our glue, put them on each one. We're going to tuck it inside of each other so that it stays. Kind of crease it over a little bit. Oh, Rose, your name alone says you need to be playing with the roses. Come on. Purple roses. Oh, I've done a lot of purple roses. Okay, so now once you start to shape these, this is the bigger size. Okay. You can make them as tight or as loose as you want. If you don't want an opening down in here, you just have to put them in a little tighter. Okay, so now you have the beginning of a tiny bud and a medium bud. Okay, so there's two different sizes. So if you wanted to put the medium bud, you can just easily have it tucked in underneath a petal, kind of sticking out a little bit. Right here. Okay. Let me just put a little bit of hot glue on here. Let's just commit this. This is going to be a mishmash bouquet. Okay, so we just want to push this on here. Then we're going to take this and we might want to put it, let's see, where do I want it? I think I might want it. I think I want it in here. So when I'm going to put it inside of a flower like this where it's a little puffy, what I often will do is either with my fingers or my tweezers, I will take the end and kind of squish it. Just the end, not the opening. Okay, kind of crease it a little bit more, put a little bit of hot glue, tuck it in, give it a second to catch. Try not to burn yourself. Okay, so now we have some little cute rosebuds. I'm just going to commit this guy. I could sit and make flowers all day long. If Kathy just wants to run the store, okay, and I just make flowers all day, that would totally be my jam. Thank you, Connie. So this is the quick way to make some rosebuds and some aster buds that you can definitely put on a card that is a nice filler. And just add to whatever flower you have. It doesn't matter. Bouquets are bouquets. They can be anything that you want. So we have a lily, we've got dogwood, we've got rosebuds, we've got a rose, we've got another aster, we've got some leafy accents. Excuse me. On this card, we even used the wisteria petal on this one. It's just a cute little 3-petal flower. So again, any flower that you have, as long as it's either the same color or done in white as a filler, it's absolutely beautiful. So that's how we did this. Anybody have any questions? So remember, you can use your Dries Clear. You're very welcome, Sue. You can use Dries Clear. You can also use the Ranger Distress Crackle Paint, the clear rock candy to create these. I do find that it holds the glitter better. So my key thing for you guys today is to have fun. Make sure that you put your Rajni's crystal glitter in a bigger container so that you have, thank you, Marilyn, so that you have a bigger space. You want to find a spoon that you can sprinkle this with, and it's just so beautiful. Do, you know, be careful, it is glitter, so there are a few sharp pieces in here. You're welcome, Tamara. So have fun, ladies. Try making some flowers. Like I said, Heartfelt is on sale this week, 25% off. If you do purchase the Aster, I definitely will honor the 25% off when it comes in if you pay for it before the end of Saturday. I don't have a problem with that. I did have a bunch of them here knowing I was going to do the demo, the same as the Classic Rose. And with the sale this week, or last week, sorry, everything just kind of sold out really quickly on me. So I will definitely have it ordered in for you, not a problem. So that's kind of our demo for our roses and our Aster. And I used the Vibrant Fuchsia Pink, and my green was Archival Olive. Okay, so on a little side note, we're waiting to hear what Premier Ford is going to say and do this morning. Of course, I think he's on live now, but so am I. So as far as I understand, we're still going to be doing curbside. I was offering the debit credit card by you coming to the door. Depending on what he says, that may have to stop. So we're probably going to switch back to credit card, call it in, or we have your credit card on file, or you can send an EMT. But we'll know more, and once I know what he has said and what the plans are, then we'll go from there, okay? So you guys, hi Eileen. Can't wait. Yes, you need to start your Asters. They're so easy, and it's going to look beautiful on your layout. Seriously beautiful on that layout. So have fun today, ladies. Get crafty. Like I said, if there's anything heartfelt, if you need a visual, if you need a photo, do you need to know if we have something, just give us a call. Kathy's here. She's going to help me. Come say hi, Kathy. Come behind me. Say hi.
Oh my goodness.
Come say hi with me. So Kathy's here working with me, yes. And you have to bend down to my height.
Bend down.
To my height.
To mini me?
To mini me. To your little peanuts.
Oh, yes.
So definitely give us a shout. We can send you a photo. We can do a live video with you. We can do whatever, you know, if you want to FaceTime or whatever. We're going to make it work. I promise you, you guys are going to have a blast in your quarantine. We did it last year. We're going to do it again. So I'm going to sign off. Be well, be happy, and please stay safe, okay? Take care, guys.